The market was loud. Voices shouted over one another. Traders pushed old machines, broken weapons, and dusty relics from dead planets. The smell was heavy, metal, smoke, and something worse. In the center of it all, on a wooden platform, stood a small alien girl. She was thin. Too thin. Her skin was pale blue, marked with dirt and small bruises. Her dress was torn, hanging off one shoulder. Chains rattled at her ankles. Her big eyes looked around the crowd not with hope but with fear. "She's strong," the seller lied. "Good bones. Might even clean up nice." No one bid. People walked by, looked once, then turned away. Some laughed, some spit. Others didn't even notice her. "Worthless," someone said. "Not even worth a crumb," said another. The seller cursed under his breath. "Fine. 10 credits, just 10. Still no hands raised. Then from the edge of the crowd a human stepped forward. He was tall, wearing a long, dusty coat. A wide brim hat covered part of his face. His boots were old but strong. He didn't speak. He just looked at the girl. His eyes weren't angry. They weren't soft either. They were tired. The seller saw him and grinned. "Ah, you there, human? 10 credits. She's yours." The human didn't move. The girl looked at him silent. Then the human did something strange. He didn't ask questions, he didn't haggle. He simply reached into his coat, took out a small pouch, and dropped 10 credits into the seller's hand. "Done. Deal," the seller said, laughing. "You bought yourself some trash." The chains were unlocked. The girl didn't run, she didn't thank him, she just stared like she didn't believe what was happening. The human knelt in front of her. He didn't touch her. He just opened his coat slightly and showed her something. Piece of bread. Soft. Fresh. The girl's eyes widened. She nodded. Quietly, she followed him through the market. No one stopped them. No one cared. They walked in silence. Her bare feet touched the hot ground. Her body was shaking. He led her down a narrow alley away from the noise. There was a small hoverbike there, barely holding together. The human handed her the bread. She didn't eat right away. She held it like it was gold. "Eat," he said softly. She looked at him, then she ate, fast, like she thought someone might take it back. He watched her for a moment. Then without a word, he helped her onto the back of the bike and started the engine. They rode out of the city. Dust flew behind them. The sky above was gray. The girl held on tight, not to his waist, but to the idea that maybe, just maybe, she wouldn't be hurt tonight. The human lived outside the main dome, far from the crowds. His home was small. Metal walls, one room, a roof patched with old ship parts. Inside, it was clean but simple. A bed, a chair, a heating unit, a small kitchen. He gave her water, a clean towel, a blanket. She stood in the corner, not moving. He pointed to the bed. "You can rest there." Still, she didn't move. He sighed and sat down in the chair, pulling off his boots. His feet were scarred, tired, like he'd walked across too many broken places. "I won't touch you," he said. "You're safe here." She blinked. Safe? She didn't know what that word meant anymore. She sat on the floor, curled into the blanket. Didn't speak, didn't sleep, just watched him. Watched the way he moved slowly, carefully, like someone who carried too much pain inside. When he fell asleep in the chair, the girl crept closer to him, not to steal, not to run, just to look. She saw a photo near his bed, a small alien child in it, smiling. A different race, but there was something familiar in the eyes. The human had written something under the photo. One word. Lyra. The girl didn't know what it meant, but for the first time, in a very long time, she felt something. Not joy, not safety, just curiosity. She waited for the chains. Every second inside the human's home, the girl waited for his real face to show. The cruel one, the one she knew too well. But no chains came. No cold orders. No pushing. No pain. Just silence. And food. She sat on the metal floor, knees to her chest, still wrapped in the blanket he gave her. She hadn't spoken. Not a word. Not even her name. The human moved slowly, quietly, like someone who didn't want to scare her. He cleaned a tool at his table, a broken comlink maybe, or a scanner. She didn't know. She only knew that he didn't look at her like the others did. He didn't look at her like she was less. He just looked tired. Finally, she whispered, "Why?" He paused, looked at her. "Why what?" Her voice was soft, cracking. "Why did you buy me?" The human placed the tool down, walked to the tiny heater. He didn't answer right away. Then he said, "You reminded me of someone." The girl swallowed. "The one in the picture?" He nodded. "Lyra, my daughter." "She was like me?" "Not exactly," he said, "but her eyes looked like yours. She was taken during the border war. I searched, but I never found her." Silence again. Then, carefully, the girl asked, "Do you think I'm her?" "No," the man said gently, "but I don't need you to be." He stood, walked to a small storage box, opened it, pulled out something soft, colorful. "Here," he said, holding it out, "a dress, old but clean. Not torn, not gray like hers." She looked at it like it was made of stars. "For me?" she asked. "Yes." She held it tightly. "You won't sell me again?" "No." "You won't use me?" The human's face turned hard, but not at her. At the world? "No. Never." Her hands shook. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "Then, what am I?" He knelt down slowly to meet her eye level. "You are free," he said. Later that night, after a hot meal and a long, silent bath, the girl finally sat on the edge of the bed. She still wore the new dress. She touched it like it wasn't real. The human was fixing wires near the wall. "I don't know what to do," she said. "Do about what? Being free?" He smiled a little, not with his mouth, just with his eyes. "You'll learn," he said, "but I don't know how to be anything else." "Then let's start small." He went to the kitchen, returned with something in his hand. Spoon. She looked at it, then looked at him. "I'm not hungry." "It's not for eating," he said. He handed her the spoon. "It's yours now. The first thing you own. Keep it." She stared at it. A simple spoon. To others, nothing. To her, it was everything. That night, while the human slept, she held the spoon to her chest and cried, for the first time in years, but not from pain, from something else. Hope. The next morning, the girl woke. Early. She quietly cleaned the floor with an old rag, organized tools, folded her blanket. When the human opened his eyes, he paused. "You don't have to do that," he said. "I know," she said, "but I want to." He smiled. "I still don't know your name," he said. The girl looked down. "I don't have one anymore. They took it when they sold me. Then pick a new one." She thought for a long time, then said, "Kiri." The human nodded. "Nice to meet you, Kiri," he said. "I'm Dane." Kiri smiled, a small broken smile that tried to remember what smiling felt like. But it was a start. Outside in the dark corners of the galaxy, news spread. The slavers had lost a product. A girl with strange DNA. One they didn't understand, but feared they wanted her back and they would kill the human who took her. Who was he? And why? Did he look at her like she mattered? The storm came fast. Outside Dane's little home, wind howled across the desert. Dust slammed against the windows like angry hands. But inside, it was quiet. Kiri sat by the heater, her knees pulled, close. The warmth touched her skin, but she still felt cold inside. She watched Dane. He was in the corner, staring at the same picture again. The alien child in it had a soft smile. Lyra, his daughter. Kiri didn't speak. She had learned that silence sometimes said more than words. Finally, Dane spoke, his voice low and dry. She was 6 when they took her. Kiri looked up. Who took her? Raiders, he said. War criminals. Scavengers from the edge. Systems. They didn't care if a child was innocent. Kiri hesitated, then asked, Why didn't they kill you too? Dane didn't answer. Instead, he opened a drawer and pulled something out. It was small, a child's bracelet, faded pink. She made this from scrap, he said. Said it would protect me. It didn't. His hands trembled slightly as he held it. I was too late to protect her. Kiri stared at the bracelet. It looked like hers. She reached under her sleeve and slowly pulled out a thin, hidden string on her wrist, woven with purple threads. I made this for someone once, too, she whispered. Before I was sold. Dane's eyes softened. We both lost someone, he said. No, Kiri said, her voice shaky. I lost everyone. That night, Kiri had a nightmare. She woke up screaming, sweating, clutching her throat. Dane rushed over and held her arms gently. It's okay. You're safe. No, I'm not, she cried. They'll come back. They always do. They take me again and again. Dane didn't ask questions. He didn't speak soft lies. He just stayed beside her, held her hand until the shaking stopped. In the morning, Kiri found a surprise. A second blanket, new boots, a warm jacket, and next to her, plate of food, an old datapad. She picked it up and stared. You want me to read? She asked. If you want to, Dane said. I never learned. Then I'll teach you. That day, they began with letters. Kiri laughed when she wrote her name for the first time. She wrote it again and again, like magic. Kiri. She looked up at Dane and saw something new. Pride. He wasn't just feeding her, he was rebuilding her. But far away, danger moved. The slavers who once sold Kiri had scanned her blood before. They had seen strange signals, markers they didn't understand. Now they did. Kiri wasn't just some unwanted alien girl. She carried something inside her, something rare, something ancient, something that could bring power or destruction, and now they knew where she was. That night, as Dane cleaned the tools near the door, his scanner beeped once. An alert. Someone was watching the planet. Someone was coming. He didn't tell Kiri, but he placed a hidden blaster under his bed and quietly locked the front door. The sun was low when the knock came. It wasn't a normal knock. It was heavy, slow, like someone wanted to be heard and feared. Kiri froze. She was cutting vegetables with a small knife, wearing her new jacket. Her hand trembled. She looked at Dane. His face had gone still. Without a word, Dane picked up the scanner on the table. His eyes narrowed. 2 life forms outside, armed. He turned to Kiri. Go to the back room. Don't speak. Don't open the door, no matter what happens. Kiri opened her mouth to protest, but saw the look in his eyes. So she ran. The knock came. Again. Louder. This time a voice followed. Human. You have something that doesn't belong to you. Dane stood at the door. Calm. Silent. He opened it. 2 men stood outside. Not local. One was tall, skin covered in glowing scales. The other short, with metal arms and black goggles. Their badges were fake, but their weapons were real. She's property, the taller one hissed. You bought stolen goods, we're here to take her back. Dane didn't flinch. She's not yours. She was part of a high-value scan batch, the other said. You think 10 credits paid for what's in her blood? She's just a girl. No, the man growled. She's a key. Dane gripped the edge of the door. She's free. The shorter man smirked. Then you'll die with her. The first shot came fast, but Dane was faster. He pulled the blaster from his boot and fired, 1 shot, right into the tall one's shoulder. The alien screamed and dropped to one knee. The second man rushed in. They fought hand to hand. Flesh, Against metal, Dane was strong but older, slower. He was losing ground when a sound came from behind. Crack. The shorter man dropped. Kiri stood in the hallway. In her shaking hand, she held the frying pan. She'd hit the man from behind. Her eyes were wide, full of fear, but her feet held firm. Dane stared at her. Kiri. I couldn't hide, she said, voice breaking. Not again. They tied both men with cables from the wall. The taller one hissed, bleeding. You don't know what she is. That girl's not safe. You think you're helping her, but she'll burn your whole world. Kiri's face went pale. Dane stepped forward. Calm but cold. Then I'll burn first. That night, Kiri sat by the fire, knees tight to her chest. She didn't touch her food. Dane finally asked, Are you okay? I don't know, she said. They said I'm not just a girl. You're still you. But what if what's inside me hurts you? Dane looked at her, eyes firm. Then I'll still stand beside you. She looked up. Why? He smiled sadly. Because no one stood beside Lyra. Silence. Then Kiri whispered, You're not just saving me, Dane. You're saving yourself too. Outside, the desert wind howled louder than before. They both knew it wasn't over. The men who came today were scouts. The real danger was still on its way. The night didn't end. Dane and Kiri didn't sleep. They packed what little they had. Tools, rations, the old datapad, the picture of Lyra, and a second blaster. Dane buried the two scouts outside. Quietly. Deep. Kiri helped without speaking, but her hands never stopped shaking. By morning, Dane's hoverbike roared through the red canyons, kicking up clouds of sand. Kiri sat behind him, holding tight, not just to him, but to the fear growing inside her. She had a name now, a home, a spoon, a jacket, and a blanket of her own, and now she had a target on her back. They reached a shuttle port in the ruins of an old mining town. The buildings were broken. The air tasted of iron and ash. But a ship waited there. Small, rusty, old-world tech. Dane paid the silent captain with a favor and a lie. They took off before the sky could blink. Inside the ship, Kiri looked out a window as the planet faded behind them. Her fingers touched the glass. Do you think they'll follow us? They already are, Dane said. How do you know? He held up the scanner. It blinked red. They put a tracer in your blood, Kiri. That's how they found you. She touched her arm. I'm dangerous? No, Dane said. You're special. That's why they want to control you, but I won't let them. On the second night in space, the captain warned them. There's a bounty. 10,000 credits for the girl, dead or alive. Kiri's chest tightened. What if they pay you? More? She asked the captain. The woman smirked. Your human friend once saved my brother's life. That debt still stands. But when we land, you're on your own. The drop zone was a swamp planet. Green skies, thick fog, and alien birds screaming from tall vines. They hid in a wrecked tower near the edge of a river. It was cold, wet, but safe, for now. That evening, Kiri curled up in the dark with a stolen blanket. Dane placed down 2 plates of hot protein stew. She didn't eat. Something's wrong, she said. Dane sat beside her. I keep feeling things. What things? When the scouts touched me, when I was scared, I heard a sound in my head like a voice, like something waking up. Dane's eyes sharpened. You're changing. I don't want to change. He put a hand on her shoulder. You already have. You're not the same girl from the cage. The next morning, it began. Kiri stood near the swamp water, thinking, remembering. And suddenly the vines moved, not from wind. They moved toward her. Dane rushed forward, blaster raised, but she lifted her hand, and the vines froze, then backed away. She turned, eyes wide. Did you see that? Dane didn't answer. He was staring at her like she was something new, something ancient. They weren't just running from slavers now, they were running from a truth. Whatever was inside Kiri, it wasn't human. And it wasn't fully alien either. It was power, and it had chosen her. That night, Kiri asked, "If I become something else, will you still stay with me?" Dane looked at her, tired but sure. "I didn't buy you, Kiri, I chose you." She leaned against him, her voice soft. "Then I choose you too." But far above, in the dark halls of a warship, someone watched her through screens. An alien warlord, with silver eyes. "She's awakening," he growled. "Send everything." They crossed a dead forest on foot. Dark trees, no leaves, and strange whispers in the air. The soil glowed faint blue, and the air was thick with electric dust. Dane moved carefully, blaster drawn. But Kiri, she walked differently now. Like the trees remembered her. They reached a small round hut at the edge of the cliff. It looked abandoned, covered in vines and ash. But Dane knocked. The door opened by itself. Inside, an old woman sat by a fire, her body part metal, part bone. She didn't speak. She just looked at Kiri, and her eyes filled with fear. "I felt you coming," the woman said. Kiri stepped back. "You know me?" "I don't know your name, child," the old woman whispered. "But I know what you carry." Dane stepped in. "She needs help. She's changing. Her body, her mind." "It's not a sickness," the woman said. "It's an awakening." Kiri sat down, heart racing. "What am I?" The woman reached forward and placed her wrinkled hand over Kiri's chest. "You are a daughter of the Veil blood." Dane frowned. "What is that?" "Old blood. A race forgotten by war. Their DNA was scattered across galaxies, hidden in children. Waiting. Waiting for what? To return." The old woman walked to a wall made of stone and touched it. Symbols, lit up ancient ones. One of them looked just like Kiri's wrist thread. "Long ago, the Veil blood ruled by peace," the woman said. "They healed planets, spoke to nature, calmed beasts." "So why are people trying to kill her?" Dane asked. "Because peace is dangerous to those who feed on fear." Kiri's hands were shaking. "I don't want to be some ancient thing. I just want to be me." "You still are," the woman said. "But now the galaxy will look at you as a weapon or a savior." Suddenly the ground shook, an explosion outside. Dane ran to the window. "They found us." Kiri stood up, but the fire didn't flicker near her, it bent toward her. The old woman stared. "She's fully waking." "Kiri, stay down," Dane shouted, but she walked toward the door, and when it opened, she raised her hand, and the vines outside moved like soldiers. 3 bounty hunters stood at the cliff edge, blasters ready. One fired. The bolt never reached her. It curved in midair and slammed into the trees. Kiri's eyes glowed, and the ground obeyed. Roots shot from beneath and grabbed the attackers. The wind screamed. The forest roared like it had lungs. In seconds, it was over. The forest was still again, and Kiri dropped to her knees. Dane rushed to her. "I didn't mean to hurt them," she cried. "I didn't mean to." "You protected us." "But I felt something inside me," she whispered. "Something big. Something angry." The old woman nodded. "Because the galaxy has called you nothing your whole life," she said. "Now it will try to silence your power. But it's yours now." That night, Kiri sat by the fire, staring at her hands. Dane sat beside her. She looked at him. "I'm not a child anymore." "I know," he said. "I'm something else." He nodded. "You always were." She looked down. "Will you still stay with me?" Dane didn't answer right away. Then he said, "To the very end." Far above the clouds, the silver-eyed warlord watched a broken screen. His voice was a whisper of rage. She awakened the forest. He turned to his second-in-command. "Call every fleet. We don't want her bloodline alive." The sky burned red. Warships filled the clouds. Lights blinked across the stars. Missiles, drones, and fire from 100 alien armies. all for one girl. Kiri stood at the edge of the cliff, wind in her hair, the forest behind her, and Dane beside her. "They're not here for me," Dane said, quietly. "They are," Kiri replied. "But I won't run. You're still just a girl." "No," she said, eyes glowing faintly. "I'm the last of something old, and the first of something new." The forest moved again, softly this time. Not wild, not angry, alive. It was listening to her, just like it had listened before, when she saved them both. Now, the galaxy would hear her voice too. Dane held out the old comlink. "Speak," he said. She looked at him. "They'll try to silence me. They already did. And you're still here." Kiri took the device. She breathed in. Then she spoke, not in fear, not in anger, but in truth. "To the ships above, I am the one you hunt. I was sold as trash, forgotten, beaten. But a human gave me food, gave me freedom, and gave me a name. I am not your weapon. I am not your prize. I am the child of peace, and I will not bow." For a long moment, nothing answered. Then, one ship powered down. Then another, and another. Some commanders looked at the girl on their screens, and they saw something strange. They saw hope, but not all of them. The warlord's flagship fired a blinding blast. It screamed down like a sword of fire. Aiming straight for the cliff, Dane turned. "Kiri!" But she had already raised her hands. The vines rose with her, the mountain shook, and the beam shattered in midair, stopped by roots, air, stone, and the force of her will. When the dust settled, the warlord's flagship drifted in silence, powerless, beaten. By a girl once sold for nothing. Later that night, in a galaxy still whispering her name, Kiri sat beside Dane by the fire. He placed the photo of Lyra beside her. "She would have liked you," he said. Kiri smiled. "Maybe I would have liked me too, if I had met her sooner." He looked at her. "What now?" She stared at the stars. "I think I'll keep walking." "To where?" "To where people like me are still in cages." He raised a brow. "And do what?" She stood, eyes burning with soft light. "Set them free."